CD525 video, I want to talk to you about the final assignment so that when you come to class, when you come to the residency week, you kind of already know what I would like you to do afterwards, at the end of the residency week. You basically have a few more weeks before the end of classes to finish your final assignment. And I think that by now you understand well that the final assignment brings everything together, but that you're basically building throughout the course this final assignment. That, you know, the first small paper that you have to write on leadership, and that the different presentations that you will do during the residency week really help you develop the various elements that make for the final assignment, even though the grade for this final assignment is 1/4 of the class, like all of the other grades. I have 4 grades and you know this already. So the final assignment basically should integrate all that you have learned in class when you apply it to a very specific comprehensive community initiative. And as you have also understood by now, you will understand much better as you take the class. This integrating exercise is really mirroring the fact that this class is about integrating issues of leadership, issues of framing organizations and communities, and activating leverage points. In other words, understanding what you can change and measure what you can change so that it's really effective. And bringing all of this together, obviously, is not simple in real life. It's much easier theoretically, and it's much easier in class, and it's a very fascinating intellectual exercise. But when you actually apply it, you realize that you cut corners, you have to adapt, and this is kind of why I'm asking you to write a paper on this so that you reflect on it as well. So the kind of things that I want in the final assignment is, obviously, I want an introduction and a conclusion. I want you to describe what your CCI is. I want you to collect data on your CCI, and the data can be quite diverse. It really follows the kind of CCI you have, but we follow in the description the Caledonian Institute frame paper, or Caledon Institute frame paper, because in this paper they really describe quite well the different aspects. So you have to have a comprehensive presentation, you have to present the community well, you basically have to explain what the initiative and the goals are. You also have to discuss leadership issues and your own leadership style in regard to these leadership issues. And you also have to discuss basically the leverage points. Now, when we do this exercise, we take a picture. In other words, it's not a movie, it's just a snapshot at a given situation. In class, we've learned that we could frame and reframe. And so I'm asking you to assess the picture and then to reframe it. So the idea here is to lead you to think over a period of time, and to obviously analyze a situation with the help of time. You go into a situation, you go into a neighborhood, you go into an organization, and you do your CCI analysis, and then you want to be able to reflect on it and come back. So part of your paper, in the second part of the paper, we are basically reframing the CCI. You are assessing, evaluating the CCI, And you do this following the same steps that you've used to describe the situation in part 1. But obviously you're trying to show and justify the framing, reframing of the CCI towards leveraging and changing the situation, right? So you use the same framework to describe basically your actions, data collection, and it can be quantitative and qualitative measures. You can discuss how comprehensive the CCI is, what the community is, what the initiative is, the goal and theory of change idea, your leadership philosophy in this regard, and obviously the goal and change idea and leadership philosophies are quite integrated, so you are integrating leverage points at that stage, and you're explaining maybe a successive process or a process of successive leverage points. And I would like you obviously to conclude and maybe make proposal for future directions with regard to what you're trying to do. You can include table, matrix, you can include a logic model if you want. And to sum up what I've just said, basically you take a snapshot of the situation in part 1 of your paper, and in part you introduce much more dynamism and much more self-assessment of a situation and assessment of a situation, so you can describe how this will evolve progressively in the future. And that's basically what I would like you to do in the final paper of this class. Thank you very much.